Hey guys, what's up? It's Samslo33 and welcome to Mix Up, and today we're going to be talking about a couple things. First, we're going to be talking about a new card from the Dark Explorer set, Tornadus EX, which is definitely one of the best EXs in the entire set. Very powerful, very consistent, and very, very splashable. And we'll also be talking about my very first Battle Roads, and yeah, that Battle Roads event, definitely very interesting. So you want to check back for that. Check back. You want to watch till the end to see that, because it's definitely very interesting. So without further ado, let's get to Tornadus EX himself.
So let's look at Tornadus EX's stats. It has 170 HP, which is pretty good for an EX. It has a lightning weakness, which is really bad in this format. Pokemon like Zekrom and even Thunderous with a plus power can 1-hit KO you for 2 prizes, which is not something you want to be doing, so you should probably completely avoid playing this card if you're up against the lightning deck. It has a fighting resistance, which is pretty good. It has a fighting resistance, which is great against Terrakion and Groudon EX and all those Pokemon. It takes 3 hits from Groudon EX and 3 from Terrakion as well. But with an Eviolite, he's basically a complete tank. He takes 4 hits from Terrakion, 3 hits from Groudon EX, and 5 from Landorus without a plus power. So he's just really solid against fighting types overall, and that's probably the best part about this card, honestly. It has 1 retreat cost, which is great with Sky Arrow Bridge, which is also great if you consider its attacks. So let's take a look at his attacks now. For 2 Carlos Energy, Blow Through does 30 damage and says if there are any Stadium cards in play, the attack does 30 damage more, so 60 damage is a great attack to take out Celebi Primes and Tynamos and whatnot. Just a great attack overall. The second attack is also really great. Power Blast for 3 Carlos Energy does 100 damage and says flip a coin, and if tails, discard an energy, which again is probably better than, of course, regular Tornadus and Thunderous and whatnot, because you don't have to continuously power them up, only every once in a while, or 50% of the time, to be exact. It doesn't power up your own Pokemon like Tornadus regular does, but it's just a more powerful attack, and it's easier to keep him consistently attacking than regular Tornadus. And 100 damage is a decent number. It can basically 2-hit KO everything that doesn't have an Eviolite attached to him, so Power Blast is just a really great attack overall. Another great thing about Tornadus EX is that it can fit into almost all of the top decks right now. It can fit into CMT because it can be powered up in 1 turn for 100 damage, which is much, much better than Tornadus' 80 and Mewtwo EX's 60. It can be fit into electric decks because it uses double Carlos Energy, and most electric decks should be running them. If you're not, then you're obviously not making a good list, most likely. No offense, just probably true. And even some people have been thinking of using him in combination with Darkrai EX. For a solid deck that can counter everything, you use Darkrai for electric and CMT variants, and then you use Tornadus EX for those fighting decks that give Darkrai EX a huge problem. I know this was kind of a short coverage of Tornadus EX, but really there's not much else you can say about it. It's just a really great card. It has really great attacks, really great resistance. It's just a really great card that can fit into a lot of decks, and I really just love it overall. Now let's get on to the second topic of the day, which is Battle Roads, which have started, and I have personally attended 1 so far. I'm hoping to attend a lot more, but the first one I went to, I'm kind of disappointed with myself for my performance. But I personally had a lot of fun, and I thought it was an interesting first event. Definitely very interesting. For this tournament, I'm bringing Zekiels. There's another deck I would like to bring, but the things I need for it aren't quite here yet, so I have to bring Zekiels instead. I personally don't think my build is very good, but it was good enough to bring to a tournament and beat some people who aren't very good. Apologies. So the first event I went to was at a place called Red Cap Corner, which it's very different than the last time I saw it at Cities. I don't know why it was so different. Probably just had some weird renovation or something. It was in the same place, so I don't know what's going on. But anyway, I get there, I sign up, sit down for a few minutes, wait for the pairings to pop up, and I realize there's only 6 seniors. So this is going to be a 3-round event with no top cut, which is kind of disappointing for my first tournament. But with seniors, there's usually not that many people, so 6 is still small, but I would have liked to have at least 8. Then I can at least have 4 rounds. I realized that everyone there, except for one other person who actually dropped in the first round, was actually a really good player. I know all of them have top cutted at least one tournament, so I'm pretty scared. My build is definitely not very good, and these players will definitely be destroying me in this tournament. So in the first round, I'm up against my friend Ryan, who's pretty good. Back at Cities, we thought a top cut. He was using Rush Explosion, I was using Durant, so he obviously won that one. But apparently, he's really good at predicting the meta, because this time he's using a mono fighting deck with Terrakia and Landers and Mewtwo EX. So I'm pretty destined to die again. So Ryan is apparently like the meta master or something, and always picks the counter decks, which is a good choice because I think 3 or 4 people were using Zekiels at that tournament. But anyway, this match goes pretty well the first round. It's a pretty fun game overall. He kept getting pretty lucky top decks like catchers and hand refreshers like Juniper, and I set up pretty well. I can't really get too many attackers out. He gets out of Mewtwo EX, and as you do know, I don't own one, so this is going to be a big pain in the butt fighting them. It does wreck a pretty big amount of my field, and at the end, it's my 2 prizes to his 1 prize. He has Tornadus active and 2 Terrakians on the bench, both with enough energy to knock me out if I knock something out next turn. At the beginning of my turn, I had Electric active, another Electric on the bench, and Zekrom EX on the bench, which already had 2 lightning energy on it. So I also had a Junk Arm in my hand, so when I draw, I have 3 options. I can either Junk Arm for a switch, to switch to Zekrom after attaching Double Carlos, which I also had in my hand, and Double Dynamotor to it so I can attack twice. So I didn't have to draw into an energy so I could attack again. The second option I had was to Junk Arm for Random Receiver and try to get a N so I could disrupt his hand so he didn't have a fighting energy. And I also could have Junk Arm for Eviolite to protect against that, but it turned out none of those really mattered except for the switch because my N was prized, the only one I had left in my deck, and he had a plus power, so neither of those would have made any difference at all. So yeah, I knock out his Terrakion, and I just pray that he doesn't have another fighting energy to knock me out next turn. And he sends up his Terrakion. I know it's gonna knock me out. He draws. He plays Juniper, and then I'm like, oh, come on, frick. And then I just prepared for him to draw fighting energy and lose. And of course he does. Attaches, retaliate, and KO. It was a good game. It was definitely the funnest game I had today. It was very close. And against the mono fighting deck, I thought I did pretty well. It was better than average against the mono fighting deck, so that was a pretty good game. The second round is a bye, of course, since the guy quit, and I'm the one who gets it. So I'm just sitting there and watch Ryan get destroyed by Ezekiel somehow. I'm like, what? And then it goes on to the third round. And of course, someone else had to drop, which of course means that I'm the only one that had a bye, just like at that Cities a while ago. The only 2 times I've had byes for when no one else in the entire tournament had a freaking bye. I don't even really care that's when. I'd honestly rather play a fun game and lose than have a bye, because it's just so boring. You're just sitting there. It's so boring. Yeah, it's boring. So now it's the third round, and I'm up against Isaiah, who's a really good player. He's just one of the best players in the area, and I'm just preparing myself to lose. And he's using a very interesting deck. It's Empoleon, Terrakion, and Virizion. I don't really understand the combo there. I mean, obviously, Terrakion's there to counter Empoleon's weakness. I don't really understand Virizion. I guess it's for fighting Pokemon, but I don't know. He's weird, so I'm just expected for an interesting game. And now is where we come to the stupidest part of the entire tournament. And basically, this is my field, and his field. He has no bench Pokemon, as you can see, and you probably can guess that I can win in this turn. If you don't realize that basically, I Junk Arm the Lightning Energy and something else to get whatever, it doesn't really matter. Then Dynamotor that energy to Thunderous, attach the Double Carlos to Dynamo, retreat, and use Thunders to take out his only active Empoleon and win the game. But, like a freaking idiot, I forget to discard the Lightning Energy, and he proceeds to get a bunch of Terrakions out and annihilate my whole field. So, yeah, I'm kind of disappointed with myself for that, and I'm just kicking myself repeatedly for that stupid... And, of course, that was the that's that decided whether I got a victory cup or not. So, yay. So yeah, overall the tournament was kind of disappointing. I only had 2 games, one of which I lost to a terrible misplay, and one of which was a close game, and that game was definitely worth the trip, but I still thought that I could have done a lot better, and yeah, so not a big fan of that performance, but hopefully next week, or in a couple days if you're watching this, will definitely be better than this, unless I get 3 losses in a row or 4 losses or whatever, but hopefully I won't do that bad.
And if you for some reason want to know my list, I might as well show it to you. Of course, 1 Zekrom EX, 2 Zekrom, 3 Electric. Tenemos I have are 4, 2 of the new Dark Explorers, 1 with Spark, and 2 of the old 40 HP ones with Thunder Wave. 1 Thunderous and 1 Tornadus. My only full art in this deck. 1 Cleffa. Shaman is always good. 4 Junk Arms. I have reverse 1 and you don't. 3 Dual Ball. A little better than Collector in my opinion nowadays. 2 Ultra Ball. 2 Level Ball. 2 Man Receiver. Need to get better views on these. 3 Catcher. 2 Switch. 2 Plus Power. 2 Eviolite. And 1 Super Rod. 4 Juniper. 2 Oaks. 2 N. 1 Sages. 1 Sky Arrow Bridge. 9 Lightning Energy, I believe. That's 9. And 4 Double Carlos Energy. And before you say, why isn't there any Mewtwo? It's because I'm the unluckiest person on Earth. That's why there's no Mewtwo. So shut up. Anyway, thanks for watching. Hope you guys learned a little bit about Tornadus EX and a little bit about Battle Roads. So definitely check in for next week for more Battle Roads reports, as well as a new deck that won actually Battle Roads, which I am very big fan of. Thanks for watching. See you guys later. By the way, last thing, if you see me in a tournament next few weeks or so, you guys better get ready for this. Later.